We start this noon with breaking news. Authorities responded to a call about a mysterious odor. Denver Fire says one person died and several others needed medical care. This happened this morning near 41st Place in Ensenada in Green Valley Ranch. It was at a home in a neighborhood near 38th and Tower Road. We have a crew on the scene and we will bring you more details when we learn them. Thank you for joining us for 9 News at Noon. I'm Erica Lopez. President-elect Donald Trump is quickly naming his choices for several critical roles in his next administration. Just moments ago, he named former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee as nominee for ambassador to Israel. NBC's Garrett Hake has details on the other new appointments.
With the expected selection of Senator Marco Rubio as Secretary of State, Donald Trump's next administration is coming into clearer view this morning. The two were opponents in 2016 in a primary that turned personal.
You know that in Florida, they hate little Marco Rubio so much.
But Rubio later became a staunch ally.
We are patriots who love America.
And this morning, in another key role, CNN reporting that Trump has chosen South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem to run the Department of Homeland Security, according to two people familiar with the selection. Noem, once on the short list to be Trump's running mate before suffering political fallout after revealing in a new book that she shot her own dog.
How are you guys?
Trump also naming Florida Congressman and former Green Beret Michael Waltz to be National Security Advisor, and outspoken ally New York's Elise Stefanik as UN Ambassador. All set to play a crucial role advising the president-elect on national security and the ongoing wars in Europe and the Middle East. Trump also naming former New York Congressman Lee Zeldin to lead the EPA.
The first 100 days, we have the opportunity to roll back regulations.
All of those picks, save Walz, must be confirmed by the Senate, unlike two Trump hires focused on immigration, Tom Homan and Stephen Miller. During Trump's first term, Miller helped engineer the highly controversial ban on travel from several Muslim-majority nations, while he and Homan also played influential roles with the hardline policy that led to the separation of thousands of migrant families at the border.
The criminal migrants will go home, and America will be reclaimed for Americans.
The New York judge who presided over Trump's criminal hush money trial will not decide for another week whether to dismiss the incoming president's 34 felony convictions. Trump's lawyers want the case dismissed, while prosecutors say they need more time to evaluate the next steps now that the former president has been elected again. Prosecutors will now have until November 19th to suggest how to move forward. Trump was convicted in May, but he has denied any wrongdoing. An announcement is expected today from Democratic State Senator Chris Hansen. He just got reelected for 4 more years, but 9 News learned he is expected to be stepping down. A dozen sources around the state capitol say this will be happening. Now, if it happens as expected, a vacancy committee will pick his replacement. An internal message from Denver Democrats suggests 2 members of the State House may run to take Hansen's seat. That would create the need for a vacancy committee to fill their seats as well. The DPS board has started meeting with parents and community members connected to schools recommended for either closure or restructuring. Last night's meeting was the first one. Board members are meeting with people at each of the 10 schools on the list. Superintendent Alex Marrero will do the same. Then on November 21st, the board will vote on the final closures and restructurings. Dr. Marrero says the closures will help the district deal with lower enrollment for the next 3 to 5 years. Jeffco commissioners are set to take a final vote today on whether to allow construction of a mountain bike park near Conifer. That park would feature a 15 to 18-foot lift that takes bikers up Shadow Mountain so that they can ride trails downhill. While residents have expressed that they like the idea, they don't believe the location is right for nearby neighborhoods. The county planning and zoning staff and the Planning Commission already recommended denial. And this view could get even wider by tomorrow with more snow in the forecast, but at least some rain is more likely for the Front Range. Meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen is with us this noon to break down all the changes. We've got a much different scene in the metro all the way up to the mountains right now, Corey.
Yeah, they're already feeling the impacts of this next storm system up in the mountains. We may not feel much of that until the sun goes down tonight, but there is a storm rolling across the area. We'll have mountain snow accumulation mostly in the lighter range in the 4 to 8, 5 to 10 on the high mountain passes overnight tonight, and Mainly, we're talking about some November sunshine still coming our way. The next 5 or 6 days will be full of warm temperatures and sunshine here in the Denver metro area. Here's a look at today. Our best chance to pick up a little bit of rain is going to come in between 4 and 6 o'clock tonight, maybe around 5. Doesn't look like much, but it could be snow showers in some parts of the area. I'll talk about that coming up in the forecast. This is the storm system that's just starting to move through here. You can see some showers on the western slope here. Those will gradually work their way across the state, and we'll see some minor impacts coming up here in the Denver metro area and parts of the Front Range coming up later on this evening. So I'll detail that information coming up in the forecast in just a minute.
All right, Corey, thank you. Just in at noon, Morrison Chief of Police Bill Vanelli has been placed on administrative leave. Morrison police confirmed that information just in the last half hour. The department hasn't said the reason behind the decision, but did say there's an ongoing investigation. Vanelli has been on leave since Monday, November 4th. We will continue to monitor this story and release any information that we learn both on air and online at 9news.com. This afternoon, the man facing charges for a suspected DUI crash that killed a woman in Lakewood is set to be arraigned. Police say back in June, Ilya Slavin was driving on Colfax near Garrison when he ran a red light and crashed into an SUV before rolling into a shopping center and hitting another car. One woman died in that crash and her passenger was seriously hurt. Police believe Slavin was under the influence at the time of the crash. His arraignment is set for 1 o'clock this afternoon in Jefferson County. Also today, the trial is getting underway for the man accused in another deadly crash, one that killed a woman and a Commerce City police detective more than 4 years ago. On October 16, 2020, Colorado State Patrol says Fructuoso Rosales Cano lost control of his car and swerved across Highway 2 in Commerce City, hitting 2 cars. That crash killed a woman, Francesca Dominguez, along with Commerce City Police Detective Kurt Holland, who was on duty when that crash happened. Rosales Cano is charged with DUI and vehicular homicide. And a jury is deliberating the assault charges against a former Aurora police officer accused of repeatedly punching a woman who he said was walking her dog off leash. Douglas Harone was off duty when the incident happened in January 2023. He's accused of continuing to punch the woman even after she fell to the ground. Services are now set for the Golden police officer killed last week in a suspected drunk driving crash. The memorial is set to be held tomorrow. Officer Evan Dunn was responding to a crash on Highway 58 last Wednesday when a suspected drunk driver ran into him, his partner, and 2 other people. Tomorrow's funeral for the 33-year-old will be private, but the procession will be public. A small stretch of County Line Road will be closed to traffic starting tomorrow at 10 in the morning. Golden police are inviting the public to gather along the road between Lucent and Elati to pay tribute to Officer Dunn.